prairies, stars above and stories that vary. Heroes rise where the wild winds stand. Tales of Texas, the heart of this land. Ride with me through the pass so bold, battles fought and legends told. Texas history where the brave took a stand. It's the tales of this great land.
Howdy y'all, and welcome back to Tales of Texas History, where we uncover the stories that shaped the Lone Star State. I'm your host, bringing you another fascinating chapter from our rich Texas past. Today, we're diving into a lesser-known but incredible story of Texas's first attempt at independence, the Gutierrez Magee expedition. Picture this. It's 1812, and Texas is under Spanish rule. The air is thick with tension, and change is brewing. While most history books jump straight to 1836 and the Alamo, there's an amazing story that happened here more than 20 years earlier that set the stage for Texas independence. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Imagine a Mexican revolutionary named Jose Bernardo Gutierrez de Lara teaming up with a former U.S. Army lieutenant named Augustus Magee. Talk about an unlikely duo. Gutierrez had traveled all the way to Washington, D.C., seeking support for his cause. And Magee, well, he was ready to trade his American uniform for a shot at making history. Y'all won't believe what happened next. This ragtag army of Mexican rebels and American volunteers started capturing Spanish towns one by one. First Nacogdoches fell, then La Bahia. That's modern-day Goliad for our newer Texas residents. They were on a roll, and the Spanish, well, they were starting to sweat. Here's something they probably didn't teach you in school. Texas actually had its first republic in 1813. That's right, more than 2 decades before the one we all know about. Gutierrez became the first president of Texas, and for a brief, shining moment, it looked like their dreams of independence might actually work. But here's where our story takes a turn, and trust me, y'all are going to want to hear this. The Spanish weren't about to let Texas slip through their fingers without a fight. And that, my friends, is the tale of Texas's first bid for independence. While it may have ended in defeat, it lit a spark that would eventually burst into the flames of revolution in 1836. If you enjoyed today's story, make sure to subscribe and join me next week when we'll explore a little bit more about how Mexico finally won its independence. Let's watch a video.
Bernardo Gutierrez de Lara was a Mexican Republican operating out of New Orleans. There, with the patronage of several American politicians, he gathered an army. He gathered an army of Mexican expatriates, but also of American adventurers. Former American Army officer named Augustus Magee. Gutierrez and Magee will launch an expedition into Texas in sympathy with the revolution started by Hidalgo and perpetuated by Morelos. Their real goal is to establish an independent enclave in Texas. Perhaps it's an independent Mexico that starts with a declaration in Bayard, or perhaps it's a new political entity. Gutierrez and Magee are going to sort that out once they have taken the key positions within Spanish Texas. Well, these strategic positions, there's really 2 main positions you must hold in Texas to control it. One is Bayard, and one is the Presidio La Bahia, near present-day Goliad. So, San Antonio and La Bahia become the points for this campaign. Magee gets sick and dies early on. So it's really about Gutierrez. And Gutierrez and his polyglot army of Mexican Republicans and American adventurers. Well, they take the Spanish positions. They take La Bahia, they take Bayard, and then they exceed even their own Republican ideals by executing the royalist officials in Texas. Gutierrez setting himself up as an insurgent ruler in Texas, he then sits back and awaits the inevitable royalist counterattack. He launches his campaign in 1812, and of course, what's going on in 1812? Number of massive world events. The French are invading Russia. The United States is declaring war on Great Britain. The entire world is ablaze. So nobody's really paying attention to what's going on in Texas. But the royalist troops in Mexico City are. And they send an expedition under a general by the name of Arredondo to go and reconquer this far northern province on that troublesome border with the United States. Arredondo hits Gutierrez's army south of Bayard near the Medina River in what becomes known as the Battle of the Medina in 1813, August of 1813. It's a hot summer day. The royalist forces flat outmaneuver and outfight these Republican insurgents. Scatters Gutierrez's army, breaks up the insurgency in Texas, and the survivors flee. So Texas, once again, is returned to the royalist fold. One of the heroes of the Battle of the Medina is a young ensign by the name of Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna.
This is Miss Lavach, and this has been Tales of Texas History, where every story adds another star to our sky. Join us next week when we look at the Battle of Medina and the Green Flag Expedition. Until next time, remember, Texas history is American history, just with a little more swagger.
From the missions to the wide open prairies, stars above, the stories that vary. Heroes rise where the wild winds stand. Tales of Texas, the heart of this land. Ride with me through the pass so bold, battles fought and legends told. Texas history, where the brave took a stand. It's the tales of this great land. The Alamo whispers the real